Ever feel like you're getting played in negotiations? Like the truth is just a little too polished and the promises just a little too perfect? You're not wrong to wonder, because behind every high-stakes deal, political maneuver, or corporate handshake, there's often more than meets the eye. In this world, perception is power, and deception, when used with precision, can be a tool of mastery. Welcome to the Machiavellian Guide to Negotiation, where calculated misinformation isn't just a trick. It's a strategy. Let's begin where all strategy does, with history. Niccolo Machiavelli, the Renaissance philosopher and political advisor, is often misunderstood. Painted as cold, ruthless, and morally void, his real gift was clarity. He saw the world as it was, not as we wished it to be. And what he saw was this: those who controlled perception controlled power. In his seminal work, The Prince, Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." This single line encapsulates the art of deception in its purest form, not as a betrayal of truth, but as a performance of power. Fast forward to the modern boardroom or political debate stage, and Machiavelli's ghost still lingers. Strategic deception, the careful crafting of illusion, has become a silent language spoken by the world's most effective negotiators. But make no mistake, this isn't about lying recklessly. It's about the subtle manipulation of perception to shift leverage, extract concessions, and control the narrative. It's about understanding that in negotiation, what people believe often matters more than what's real. So, what exactly is Machiavellian deception? At its core, it's the use of calculated misinformation, whether through half-truths, strategic omissions, or psychological feints, to achieve a desired outcome. It's not blind manipulation, nor is it malicious scheming. It's psychological. Chess. It's about staying 3 steps ahead in a game where the stakes are influence, control, and outcomes. Historically, this concept wasn't limited to Renaissance politics. Military generals from Sun Tzu to Clausewitz used deception as a tactical weapon. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu stated, "All warfare is based on deception. Replace warfare with negotiation, and you begin to understand the battlefield you're stepping into." But unlike war, negotiation isn't about destruction. It's about persuasion. The game is subtler, and the players wear suits, not armor. And that's precisely why deception, when used sparingly and surgically, can become one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. Now, before we go further, let's address the elephant in the room: ethics. Is it wrong to deceive? It depends on your intention and your integrity. Machiavellian deception, contrary to popular belief, doesn't require abandoning your morals. In fact, the most skillful negotiators understand that trust is currency. Once it's broken, it's hard to earn back. So the question becomes, can you use deception ethically? The answer is yes, if your goal is not to harm, but to protect, persuade, or pivot a conversation that is being dominated by false power. Think of it like playing poker. You don't show all your cards, and you don't always tell the full story. But you're not cheating. You're playing within the rules of engagement. The best negotiators don't manipulate. They orchestrate. They read the room. They control tempo. And when necessary, they reshape the truth just enough to protect their position without compromising their core values. In the world of negotiation, transparency is respected, but perception is everything. And those who understand this balance, the dance between truth and performance, rise to the top. In negotiation, truth alone rarely wins. What truly influences the outcome is perception, how the other party feels, interprets, and reacts to what you present. The Machiavellian negotiator knows that if you control perception, you control the deal. Deception then becomes less about falsehood and more about strategic presentation, a powerful illusion crafted not to trick, but to influence. Let's explore the art of this strategic illusion. Three of the most effective Machiavellian tactics revolve around feigned weakness, selective truth, and deliberate distraction. The first tactic is as ancient as war itself: feigned weakness. Sun Tzu wrote, "Appear weak when you are strong." Why? Because when you seem vulnerable, your opponent underestimates you, and underestimation breeds opportunity. In negotiation, feigned weakness may look like self-doubt, financial limitation, or emotional fatigue. It's the soft tone in your voice, the long pause, the subtle sigh. It invites your opponent to lean in, thinking they've gained the upper hand, but the illusion is intentional. When you pretend to fold, they may relax their guard. They might offer better terms, reduce demands, or reveal more than they intended. And when the moment is right, you pivot, stronger, sharper, and in control. This strategy isn't about playing the victim. It's about baiting confidence. Let them believe they've won until it's too late to retreat. Next, we enter the realm of selective truth, a tactic built not on lies, but on carefully chosen facts. Here, the Machiavellian negotiator shares pieces of the truth, while omitting key details that could shift the balance of power. You tell them you have interest from other buyers, but not that one of them backed out. You admit a project is behind schedule, but not that it's only by a day. You acknowledge risk, but not the contingency plan you've already prepared. In negotiation, silence speaks just as loudly as speech. Selective truth is powerful because it feels honest. It builds rapport, disarms suspicion, and invites trust, while still maintaining a veil of control. It is the art of managing information rather than fabricating it, and unlike a blatant lie, it's far harder to detect or disprove. Finally, we come to the classic tactic of misdirection, the red herring. A red herring is an intentional distraction, a topic or detail introduced to divert attention away from more critical issues. Think of it like a magician's flourish. While the left hand moves, the real trick is happening in the right. In negotiations, a red herring might be a fake deadline, a misleading figure, or an emotionally charged issue that captures focus while the real leverage point remains hidden. For example, a negotiator may fixate on a minor cost item, arguing it intensely, only to later concede it as a goodwill gesture. Meanwhile, the larger concession they wanted remains untouched, unchallenged. The red herring works because people are wired to respond emotionally. When tension rises, attention narrows, and that's when subtle shifts can pass unnoticed. But understand this: red herrings are tools, not weapons. They should never be used to deceive maliciously, but to redirect attention when the conversation becomes imbalanced or manipulative on the other side. When used ethically, they can neutralize deception and restore negotiation flow. Together, these tactics, feigned weakness, selective truth, and red herrings, form a psychological arsenal for the skilled negotiator. They are not meant to dominate or deceive recklessly. They are meant to create space, to buy time, to test reactions, to hold control in conversations where transparency alone is not enough, because sometimes the path to truth passes through illusion. Now that we've explored the strategic use of deception, let's flip the board. Because if you're learning to use these tactics, you must also learn to defend against them. The Machiavellian game is a two-way street. The same tools that can help you shape perception can also be used against you. And the most dangerous lie is the one you never see coming. In this section, we'll break down how to identify deception in real time by learning to read beyond the words. Let's start with the silent language, body language. No matter how skilled a deceiver is, the body often betrays the mind. Subtle physical cues can expose the inner tension behind a lie. Watch for micro-expressions, those fleeting facial movements that flash before someone can consciously control them. A quick look of fear, disgust, or guilt, gone in half a second, can reveal more than a polished speech ever could. Pay attention to sudden fidgeting or restlessness, crossing arms or shielding gestures, avoiding eye contact or holding it too long. Unnaturally, touching the face, especially the nose or mouth, a mismatch between tone and expression, like smiling without warmth. These are not guarantees of deception, but they are red flags, invitations to look deeper. Because when someone says one thing, but their body says another, trust the body. Next, we move to language itself. Deception often leaves a trail of linguistic breadcrumbs, contradictions, evasions, and overcompensations that reveal internal conflict. Here's what to listen for: vagueness. People who are lying often avoid specifics. They speak in generalities and deflect detail over justification. A deceptive person may offer too many explanations, trying to preempt suspicion. Changing the subject. Notice sudden topic shifts or attempts to steer the conversation away from key issues. Inconsistencies. Are their statements contradicting previous claims? Are the timelines fuzzy? Qualifiers. Phrases like, to be honest, trust me, or as far as I can remember, can signal defensiveness. Listen not just to what they say, but how they say it. The hesitations, the verbal slips, the awkward pauses, these can reveal cracks in the illusion. Ironically, one of the best ways to spot deception is by building trust. Why? Because trust creates comfort, and in comfort, people let their guard down. Their body relaxes, their tone becomes more natural, and inconsistencies begin to stand out more clearly. Start by establishing rapport. Use active listening, mirror their language subtly. When people feel safe, they talk more. And when they talk more, patterns emerge or fail to. Also ask clarifying questions, not to trap, but to probe. A deceptive negotiator often struggles to recall their own lies. Ask for details, then revisit them later. Genuine memories are consistent. Manufactured ones crumble under pressure. But beware the trap of cynicism. Not every inconsistency is a lie. People forget. People get nervous. Not all deception is malicious. Sometimes it's defensive. Sometimes it's a shield. Your job isn't to accuse, it's to observe. Because great negotiators don't react to every red flag. They notice, they adapt, and they choose the moment to respond strategically. In every negotiation, a tension exists between trust and suspicion. Too much trust, and you become easy to manipulate. Too much suspicion, and you destroy rapport. The Machiavellian path lies in between, sharp, observant, and always one step ahead. Because when you can recognize deception in others while controlling your own, you stop being a player. You become the strategist. Deception. The very word stirs discomfort. It evokes images of betrayal, manipulation, and broken trust. And yet, in negotiation, it's not so black and white. As we've seen, deception can be strategic, used not to harm, but to create leverage, protect interests, and navigate power imbalances. But it's a double-edged sword. The question is not just, can you use deception? It's, should you? This is where the ethical dimension enters, a negotiation within the self, between ambition and integrity, between advantage and conscience. Let's explore how the Machiavellian negotiator walks this razor's edge. The first truth is this: excessive or unethical deception destroys trust. And in business, trust is currency. You might win a negotiation by lying, but you'll lose the long-term relationship. Your reputation will suffer. Word spreads quickly, and no one wants to deal with someone they can't believe. This is the Machiavellian paradox. To be powerful, you must appear trustworthy. Often, even be trustworthy. Deception is a scalpel, not a hammer. It must be used with precision, not recklessness. Transparency, in many cases, can be just as strategic, especially when deployed selectively, which brings us to our next principle. Strategic disclosure is the art of revealing information in a way that strengthens your position, without giving up your leverage. It's not about full disclosure. It's about timing, context, and intention. You might share a small vulnerability to build trust, knowing it will make the other party more open. You might disclose your bottom line after anchoring the conversation above it. You might reveal a risk you've already mitigated to show transparency without showing weakness. These disclosures are calculated. They create trust while maintaining control, and unlike deception, they carry no ethical cost. In fact, strategic honesty can sometimes be more powerful than any lie. But in the end, tactics mean little without a compass. Each negotiator must define their own boundaries. What are you willing to say or not say? Where do you draw the line between influence and manipulation? This is not just about ethics, it's about identity, because every tactic you use becomes part of who you are. Your choices in the negotiation room ripple outward, affecting your career, your reputation, your sense of self. Niccolo Machiavelli never said, "Be dishonest." He said, "Learn how not to be good, and to use this knowledge or not to use it, according to necessity." The power lies in the choice. Sometimes withholding information is necessary. Sometimes redirection protects you. But the goal should never be deception for deception's sake. It should be clarity, control, and outcome, with minimal harm, because the true Machiavellian doesn't lie because he must. He lies because he can, but often chooses not to. Ultimately, the most powerful negotiators are those who can move through shadows without becoming consumed by them, who understand the tools of deception but choose restraint, who gain advantage but never lose their integrity. By now, you've seen the shadowy layers of negotiation, the art of deception, the power of perception, the tools of influence. But what separates a clever tactician from a true master is not just the ability to deceive, it's the ability to prepare, anticipate, and adapt. This final section isn't about tricks, it's about building the foundation that allows you to use or resist those tricks effectively. Because power in negotiation doesn't begin at the table, it begins long before. Preparation is the quiet superpower of great negotiators. It's not glamorous, it's not cinematic, but it's what wins deals. Before you enter any negotiation, ask yourself, what are their goals? What pressures are they under? What are they likely to conceal? What's my walkaway point? What's theirs? The more you know, the less you need to guess, and the less you need to deceive. Research uncovers leverage. Knowledge exposes falsehoods. Preparation allows you to predict deception before it even begins. In this way, deception becomes less about what you say and more about what you already know. Beyond preparation lies something even more critical: your presence at the table. And that presence is built on three core pillars: communication skills, speak with clarity, listen actively, ask questions that reveal more than they seem to, use pauses, tone, and silence as weapons. The best negotiators say less and learn more. Emotional intelligence, know when to push and when to pull back. Read the room. Understand emotional undercurrents, fear, pride, desperation, and shape your message accordingly. Deception often fails when emotions run unchecked. Emotional control is your anchor. Strategic thinking, always operate within a larger framework. What's your long-term objective? What concessions are worth making for future gains? What narrative are you crafting? Deception without strategy is chaos. With strategy, it becomes calculated influence. But negotiation, like warfare, evolves. In today's digital age, deception has moved online into emails, Zoom calls, data analytics, and AI-powered tactics. We now negotiate through screens more than across tables. And in this space, new forms of deception emerge. Digital mirroring, AI-generated responses tailored to manipulate rapport, data obfuscation, withholding or distorting information in virtual contracts, online identity management, presenting curated. Personas that hide true intentions, but ironically, technology also arms us with better detection tools, recorded meetings, behavioral analytics, sentiment tracking. The game has changed, but the principles remain. Control perception, understand, incentives, speak with precision, and always, always prepare. So what does it mean to master negotiation the Machiavellian way? It means understanding the full spectrum of human behavior, from honesty to deceit, from openness to manipulation. It means using deception not as a default, but as a strategic option. It means protecting yourself from liars without becoming one. And it means mastering yourself first, your impulses, your values, your tactics, so that no one else can use them against you. Negotiation is war, yes, but it's also art, and the one who controls the canvas, the light, and shadow, the truth and illusion, that's the one who walks away with the deal. See you in the next video.